What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? You just trying to tell me something? These are the weirdest dogs ever. I'm gonna tell you something about service dogs, especially ones that look like Labradors. You guys like traveling with Labradors? Labradors can be absolutely fantastic, and I've been happy with. Well, no, that's not true. I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. Is that not all service dogs are created equal when you're gonna travel with dogs? But be prepared. If you're gonna travel with dogs, you're gonna have to know what to do, all the paperwork that goes with them, especially if you're gonna bring them on a boat. See what I'm saying? But if you're thinking about it, and I'm gonna teach you guys a couple things that maybe you didn't know, because some of you guys really want to travel, but there's a little issue, and some of you have maybe some financial obligations to fulfill, and you can't get your passport renewed, but you still have a passport, and it still has 6 months on it. You could still go somewhere. You can't stay somewhere, but you got to have at least 6 months on your passport, and then you can go wherever you want. All right, wait for some people to jump in here, and we will talk about certain ways to skirt around the rules for passports legally through the system of cruise ships. I don't know if you all know this, but there was a time when I owed a ton of child support and couldn't renew my passport until I paid it off. So I had to pay off my child support before I could renew my passport. I already had a passport. I could have gone and just disappeared, but I didn't want to go out like that, because it's like a lot of people automatically assume that we're going to do the dishonorable thing. So in order for me to one, pay off all my child support, all of it, every dime, and for me to be able to get my passport, infuriated my ex so bad that she just like, well, he's just gonna, and all the same rhetoric that they say about passport bros, like, oh, we're going overseas to find cheap, stupid women or whatever, and that's their opinion, so it is what it is. So how are you guys doing? I hope you like this music, because it's something new. It's a little bit of it's like guitar that I would say is patterned after something like bluegrass music, or that Appalachian, or one of my favorite types of music from the United States is Cajun music. So yeah, man, Cajun is fun. To me, Cajun music is like the funnest of all the American musics, because they take the washboard, and the guy, what's he got there? He's got the washboard on his chest, and that's similar to like you would do whatever this instrument is that they go. So like I don't know what that's called, some Spanish instrument. But anyway, these are all cool things that when you do go all these other countries, I collect musical instruments of different countries. I've actually done an entire show on antique, indigenous flutes, just flutes. I didn't do drums. I didn't do bagpipes. I didn't do the little bird whistles. I want to listen to this, you guys. If you are in Mexico City, and if you go to the pyramids, there are whistles that you can get. This is called the jaguar whistle. And the jaguar whistle is terrifying. It's supposed to sound like some, ancient jaguar call that the Aztecs used to use to summon the gods that were the jaguar gods or whatever. So you can buy these whistles at the pyramids, because in the old days you used to be able to run up and down the pyramids. You could walk up and down the pyramids. I've been to the pyramids so many times, like asking somebody, it's like, how many times have you been to the fair? Be like, I don't know, like every year, I guess. So I don't know how many times I've been to the pyramid, and not that I'm special or anything, but I was so close to the pyramids. And every time I would go stay in Mexico City in a decent hotel, they would say, "Hey, as part of the concierge service, if you would like to go to the pyramids tomorrow, we have a bus that is taking everybody to the pyramids. The cost is $4.50." And I'm like, "Sign me up. What are we fucking doing? Are you kidding me? Is that a joke? Is that a joke?" Yes, we're going to meet down here in the lobby right after we have the continental breakfast. Well, continental breakfast for Americans is like, the cheap bagels and the cereal dispenser and the milk and all that stuff. You go to a decent hotel that would be like mid-grade hotel, something that would cost you right around $35 a night. It's actually considered expensive. And they have a buffet in the morning that's actually worth $35 by itself. If we were in Miami, it would be $135 for just the buffet. So I'm telling you guys that some of these hotels you got to try. Look on Airbnb. Do not go for. I've stayed in the cheapest, like crack whore motels that had streetwalkers and transvestites all over the neighborhood, walking up and down and left and right. I was in the worst part. But I wanted to stay in a hotel that was only $10 a night. I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm fucking, you know what I mean? I'll stay in the woods. I don't give a fuck. But I needed to stay close to Bellas Artes. And Bellas Artes is where we're filming whatever movie this stupid shit was. I was novela, so soap operas. And the filming for the action and all that shit is all done at 4 a.m. in the morning. And it's always in this little spot in Mexico City that's like a miniature Chinatown. And so that's actually a very cool thing. So with all that aside, I wanted to tell you guys that there was a time in my life where I was so hopeless. And I'm not even talking about when I was drinking. I'm talking about when I was sober. Because I believe that people were trying to sabotage me early on. They did not want to see me get sober because they could only use my behavior, the excuse for my behavior as being an alcoholic and, being this and that. Then I could be used as a scapegoat for if anything ever went wrong, I would be the one to blame. And so I figured it out. I was like, these people set me up for failure. They knew I couldn't metabolize alcohol. Oh, in case you guys didn't know, if you cannot metabolize alcohol, you will become an alcoholic. And if you cannot metabolize folic acid, you will get ADHD. Those are the two most recent findings that the chemicals in our brain and the metabolites in our stomachs and internal parts that don't metabolize certain things can cause men that are normal to turn into Jekyll and fucking Hyde. So there's that. Okay, so I was at one point so desperate to get out of the United States. Well, I was getting out of the military. And when I was getting out of the military, I know that I had money. And I know that I didn't want to spend it all on child support. So I knew that I had to dig this thing out. I had got myself down in this hole. And it's all because at the very, 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 very beginning, you see, when I was being alienated from my daughter, her mother brought her back to the States and suddenly lost her passport. So I was really pissed off and said, I'm not going to pay you shit. I can't see my kid. You're not going to let me see my kid, and you're going to be in the court against me and say I'm unfit. And so I got sober on the 19th of March, 2002. My daughter was born in 1997. So 97, 98, 99, it's 2000, 2001, 2002. But all that time, I was not allowed to see my daughter. I did not have parental rights because they said I was such a bad alcoholic that I couldn't see her. Well, joke's on you. I got sober in 2002, And at 5 years sober, I went back to the United States, back to court, and said, I want to be part of my daughter's life. You guys keep fighting me on this. I don't understand what the fucking problem is. Well, we just don't want alcoholics around children. And I go, oh, really? Well, let me just show you my coin, because I just celebrated 5 fucking years. This was back when I had 5 years. And so when the magistrate saw that I was actually getting traction against the state, because they had sent 2 fucking lawyers to destroy me again in court, increase my child support fees and all that stuff, and said I owed like $8,000 in court fees, which is unconstitutional. And if you are a disabled vet or a person that's disabled, you are entitled to have that waived. So if you owe back child support and they charge you fees and interest and whatever, you can have that waived if you're a disabled veteran. So just keep that in mind. That is a form that you fill out in the court, and it is in every state, all 50 states. There's a law that goes all the way back to Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln says that they cannot garnish our wages as veterans. So if you are a veteran and the issue is child support, okay, they can garnish your wages as far as Social Security, but they cannot garnish your veteran's pension. There's no way they can touch it. The only way they can touch it is if they went after your bank and then they froze your bank and then they take what's in your bank. Because other than that, they can't intercept a treasury payment to a disabled person. It's against the law. And then doubly if you're a veteran, because if you're a veteran, I think it's the 14th Amendment that protects all veterans from ever losing their pensions. So there's that. But in the event you are in the process of waiting for your pension and you get behind on child support, but you're set up, you have your allotment set up, you're going to be paying on time and extra to pay off your child support so you can renew your passport so you can go and get the fuck out if you want to. The option you also, if you guys just want to travel, okay, this is a very, very good tip, because there is a form of travel that allows you as a non-passport holder who just has a driver's license and you want to go to another country on a cruise ship. There are 2 types of cruises, 2 types of cruise ships. There is open loop and there is closed loop. An open loop is people like myself who have passports, driver's license, money in the bank, plane, credit cards, stuff like that, a home, a residence, a place to live, a relationship, a family, maybe a business, maybe a charity. So your roots are in the ground somewhere. You're not running off anywhere. Or you're a backpacker who just doesn't give a shit, doesn't want to own anything. You'll take showers in Airbnb. You'll just have the clothes on your back. And whenever you want to buy something, you'll buy stuff. You won't wash clothes. You'll just buy new clothes and stuff it all in a bag. That's kind of a nice lifestyle that gives you just so much freedom, and it might actually become boring. I've been there. I've done that. It's where you have plenty of money, but you live on the cheap. And the places that you stay aren't the nicest places at all. They never have hot water. There's usually 6 people to a fucking room. They all stink like poop and piss and shit, because it's always usually like, hippies from Eastern Europe like myself that stink like poop and piss because we don't take showers when it's cold. So a lot of people, when they travel to other countries, they just don't shower at all. So you have to stay with these people in hostels and stuff. I stopped doing that a long, long time ago because I was just tired of staying in shitty motels. Because to me, I think that if I can get for $50 what I would spend $400 in the States, you know what I mean? With all the bells and the whistles, with a very nice buffet. You follow me? So if I would spend $35 in a hotel and I showed you the buffet, you would go, no fucking way. And it has a pool. And it is very nice. And it's ancient. So it's not just some slap together motel with some shitty. We're talking about a nice, like, hotel hotel that you would stay in that is always like, if you stay in a resort, this is why I say, if you want an easy route to go to other countries without getting a passport, you take a cruise. You can't go on a plane without a passport, but you could take a cruise that is called a closed loop cruise. Now, what is a closed loop cruise, kids? A closed loop cruise is a cruise where a non-passport holder can use their regular driver's license, ID, whatever, to go from one. Oh, God, excuse me, you guys. I got two problems. A dog is barking and there's a mosquito in here. Hold on. Be quiet, you dogs. Come on now. You know better than that. Come on now. Be quiet. I don't like yelling at dogs. Boo. Do me a favor. Excuse me for just a moment because this is such a good topic. This is such a good topic that I'm going to put you guys on game. I think you guys should sell tickets to this because you could. You like, anybody want to go to Mexico for Cinco de Mayo? And people are like, yeah, but I can't go because I got no passport. Be like, well, I'll tell you what. I know somebody who knows somebody. As if, right? But here's how you do it. If it is a closed loop, which could be a multiple country, oh my God. Sorry about that. Somebody was actually doing something outside. I have no idea. Two jitterbugs walking off. I don't know what they were looking at, but don't matter. Jesus, what the hell? All right, so here is the trick. Dude, the dogs had it on, man. They were actually telling me something was up outside. So that's good. But it's noisy every single time that there's a excellent topic or something like that, and it's a special day outside. All of a sudden, we get all this traffic outside, and then the dogs go crazy. So yeah, there's a few things about that. All right, so the closed loop system is actually legal. There's nothing illegal about going on a cruise without a passport to another country. Now, the way that the cruises are set up, they will actually do like a 3-country or a 4-country style cruise, and a lot of those cruises will originate in places like Fort Lauderdale. Now they'll start off in Fort Lauderdale and they'll go to the Dominican Republic, and then they'll go from the Dominican Republic over to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is part of the United States, so there you go. You have what is called a closed loop. But they don't just stop there. They go to the Virgin Islands. They go to the British Virgin Islands. They go to the United States Virgin Islands, the USVI, which is a great alternative if you really don't have a desire to you live overseas and you still want to stay in the States, but you want to have that overseas experience. You could actually go and live in the United States Virgin Islands, and I'm told that it's nicer than Jamaica, but it has the same, that Caribbean Jamaican feel, because it is basically, if you were a person who didn't know the first thing about Caribbean life, and you went to a jerk chicken place and it said jerk chicken, and everybody was talking to you like, man, and this como, he told me to say the phone, he said, and goes going to get this wig split. And you not understand a fucking thing they said, but like, I want some of that jerk chicken. You would not know the difference between jerk chicken from Trinidad or from Jamaica or from the U.S. Virgin Islands, because they basically are all the same people. The difference is the environment, the language, and the government. They're all the same. You meet them in person, you go, man, I swear I have met your cousin in Tobagos or in Curacao or whatever, because every single person in Jamaica has an identical twin or triplets. I swear to God, you guys, I'm not making this up. This is the weird part about this whole simulation shit, that I just want you guys to know. I got a couple of good friends that were both Air Force guys. And one of them is now, oh shit, some big explosion just happened outside. Big and red just went kaboom. Whoa, that was big. What the fuck was that? Dude, the weirdest shit happens here. The weirdest noises happen here. I mean, it is bizarro world times 11 without all the weird stuff that you guys got to go through in the States. We get all the supernatural stuff. I get to see stuff that is not supposed to fucking be real. And I'm sitting here telling you guys, as a sane person, okay? As a sane man who would never I would never dream of making up that I saw UFOs. I would never dream to say I saw the Virgin Guadalupe, because I'm not Catholic, first of all. Why would I make such a stupid thing up? And when the lady saw it and she was like, "Hi, she appeared to you," all the people were mad at me. This is in Mexico, by the way. All the people were mad at me. I'm at this Mexican village. I'm doing an interview on a lady talking about honey, okay? Doing an interview talking about fraud in the honey industry. I am a beekeeper by hobby, and I do bee rescue with the fire department. So this lady was so impressed with watching one of the videos of me doing a bee rescue, she invited me to her restaurant and showed me that she had like 7 kinds of honey from different plants and trees that it grew around. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. And she turns to look and she says, "You know, it kind of looks kind of funny under that bar over there. There's like a big mark on the wall. It looks like a coyote, doesn't it?" And I said, "It looks just like one of those Guadalupe virgins that you all are so crazy about." And her whole face lit up like this. And I saw something like it passed over her. She got on her phone like there was like she was trying to hold still in her house, she was in shock. And she stared at it for a moment and she said, "Hi." And then before not 5 minutes, there was a line of people out the door of this restaurant with people taking pictures. They put up an altar, and so all this weird stuff happened. And like I said, you guys have to experience the boredom of not having all this supernatural shit happen. But this is a weird world we're in. So the reason why I bring these things up with child support and so on is because in my mind, this is besides just not being a good person, not being a fit father. It was that my love of money and my indignant nature, if you will, my defensive, product of a single mom mentality and battling with a single mom. It pushed me to the point where I'm like ready to wash my hands, say, fuck this shit. I got a passport. I don't need to, stick around for none of this shit. Because if you're going to alienate me, then I'm going to get on the next boat that goes to another country, and I'm going to get off in that country, and I'm never coming back. How you like them apples, bitch? And it was the wrong thing to say. It was a wrong thing to say because immediately she could pick the phone up, call the passport office, and say, he's planning on running away, not paying his child support, so make sure you freeze his shit, and they'll do it for her. So I took the high route. I took the high road, and every month I paid $2,000 in child support, and it took me 34 fucking months to pay it all off in full. And it was then when I applied for my passport, and without skipping a beat, they had filled it out. I had filled it out, had my photos, everything was sent. It was expedited. It was sent to my mailbox in Puerto Rico, which is where I was practicing to be a passport bro. And it came in the mail, and it was kind of a weird thing because, like, my brother came to visit. Actually, I bought him a plane ticket, came to visit me, and he brought his friend. And this is how alcoholics are, man. They came to visit me, and they went and, like, got on Facebook or some shit, and they went partying in San Juan, downtown, in the main. I'm an hour away from, the city, and I don't drink, so I'm not gonna go hang out in bars with these dipshits. They come back, they come in a taxi, they go to the wrong apartment in my apartment building because I have a big apartment building on the beach in Puerto Rico. And I'm like, this is your apartment, guys, so just stay here. Don't go to any of the apartments because those are people's apartments. And they just come here on the weekends and stuff. So don't go in the apartments. This is like people's shit. And because all the doors, like, on the patio were wide open, like nobody ever locked their doors. So, and, they had like housekeepers and maids and shit walking around. Sometimes have their girlfriends walking around like fucking high heels and bikinis around the pool. Very cool place, Puerto Rico. I enjoyed every minute of it. But I was in therapy at the time. So when I discovered that, oh, wait a minute, why don't I just do this instead? Because I am so sick of being accused of being a deadbeat, a loser, a fucking whatever. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the opposite of what they expected me. And I'm going to wash my hands and be done with these people. And that was the best thing it ever did. Because for one, I could legally go and renew my passport 20 fucking times if I want to. Because I have no legal obligation to anybody, financial or otherwise. And so in my mind, in my dirtbag mind, I'm thinking, I hate these people so much. They have fucked me over so many times. They have my license suspended 12 fucking times. Something happened to me. It was really bad, you guys. And I'm going to tell you what happened is that while I was waiting for my pension when I got out of the military, I was like 2008 until 2011. And at the time, I had like 200 pages of, my medical records like this. And I had been to the emergency room more than 30 fucking times at that point because I fucking had it. You know what I mean? I had just had no treatment whatsoever for any mental, brain damage or anything. Nothing at all. Because every time I went to the hospital at the time, the VAs were packed. And the doctor would come out and he would say, I can't see you because I haven't had my lunch today. And I've been waiting in the lobby for like 3 hours. So there was these times where, we would go up to the top floor, the 4th floor on the VA, and there would be dudes up there, and that's why they had to put the chain link fence around the fucking thing, because there were so many people trying to get some mental health help, and they didn't know how to treat us at the time. So I'm one of these guys that's the problem solver, but something God made in me now is special that now I get these fucking magical formulas and shit or whatever I'm supposed to do with this information. I say I would like to find the cure to PTSD. First, help me with nightmares. Said, fine. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know, but you need to write this shit down quick. I'm writing down every morning. I got a notepad and paper. If I don't have that notepad and paper and this motherfucker fires up the generator, it's like, it's like, I'm going to tell you the secrets of the universe in under 15 minutes. Write down as fast as you can and begin. And I'm like, motherfucker, I didn't take physics. I don't know anything about this shit. It makes sense, but I don't know how to write it. Follow me? It's like literally trying to transmit these messages that I'm getting from wherever this thing is or whatever this thing is and trying to write down on paper what I'm being told. Like, here is an idea for a mask, a new mask that has a monitor inside so you can see in the dark. So I was like, bam, that's a good idea. I write it down and then it starts talking. Guys, just so you know, I'm not a nut job. Things don't talk to me. But I have been given these amazing, like, inspirations every morning, and it always happens at, like, 4:30. And it used to be comical because I was like, damn, I'm getting these great ideas. Like, this hour. Why this hour? Then, as time went on, the messages got more and more intense. I started to sort of write down what I was being told and then go back and research what I was being told, so I would be a little bit more educated on the thing that this thing is trying to tell me to go out and tell people about or go out and experiment with. And it's mostly with firefighting. Because I have I know everyone thinks Terrence Howard is a nut, but if he's having the same intuitive flashes and this thing that comes at me, if it's anything like that, now that explains a lot why Terrence Howard has been talking the way he has been. But they say that he's been this way his whole life. I don't know, because I haven't been. Out of nowhere. It comes out of nowhere. This is something that usually happens with non-believers or Satan worshippers or some shit. And they get these superpowers for selling their soul. Well, I'm not doing anything above. In fact, I didn't ask for any of this. What I started to do is I started experimenting with, getting things I needed. And I said I wanted to pay off my child support within 2 years, and I did. And it wasn't easy because, if you only get so much money a month and you have a goal and you want to get out of here, you can't just up and leave and not have money. You have to be ready and have steps in place so that, you have communication with the outside world. In the event of something goes sideways, you have somebody back home that can help you. If you lose your passport, if you lose your debit card, something like that someone can help you with immediately, and they could express mail a debit card to you or something like that. Because it's not like a credit card and you're overseas and you lose your shit. A debit card is a totally different ball game because they don't give a fuck about you. So you need to have several things in place. You need to know certain bits of information that I could tell you in the next 30 seconds. Okay? You need to have your back home. You need somebody who's a point of contact for you that you trust. Somebody that'll receive your mail for you. Somebody that'll scan letters for you and send them to you via email so you could sign them and send them back, and they'll mail them for you. So in the event of anything banking that's going on, they have access to your info and they can do stuff on your behalf. Have 2 bank accounts at 2 different banks. So you can transfer back and forth from your bank to your bank and your bank to your bank for your expenses. Or if you have multiple streams of income, you don't want to commingle. For example, if you're on a VA pension or something like that, you don't want to commingle that with, say, your Social Security pension, or your military pension, or your investment pension, or your dividend checks. You don't want to commingle those things. And the other thing is that you definitely want to have an LLC or something to that nature that basically creates a shelter for you, and so there's no piercing of the corporate veil. So you have to have a bank account or two. You need to have a person that's willing to help you. You need to have a stateside phone number or chip that you could put into your phone to make phone calls to 800 numbers back in the States. I said, when you leave the States, take your fucking phone, call everybody, text everybody, and say, hey, everybody, I'm going to be taking a trip, and that'll be the last message they ever hear from you again. And you drop that phone in the fucking ocean. Then you fly to your new location, you buy a new phone in the airport, you get a new SIM card, you download the Magic Jack app so you can call 800 numbers back to the States, or you keep the chip and you use it as just as a phone number to make calls back to the States to do banking shit. Because you can't call 800 numbers from regular cell phones here, because it's not an 800 number if you're calling internationally. It's only toll-free nationally, not internationally. So you have to have either the direct number, the landline, so the area code and all that stuff, because you can't just pull up the phone and be like 800 number. Yeah, you have to have a stateside number. So a Magic Jack number or a Google Voice number is a good alternative in the event you get jammed up or something goes sideways. You don't need health insurance. You don't need traveler's insurance. If you need to go see a doctor, you go to the pharmacy. It costs $3. They'll sew your leg back on. They'll give you medicine and send you on your way. Airbnbs and Ubers are everywhere, so there's really no confusion about where you're going to be staying, how much it's going to cost, and how much a taxi is or a Uber from X, Y to Z. So all the food is cheaper just to go out to dinner every night, have tacos. It'll cost you like $3 and you'll get fat as a pig. So it's real inexpensive to eat out. Okay, and if you have a girl or if you have a housekeeper or a cook, it's so cheap to have them go to the grocery store for you, buy everything that they're going to cook for you, have you cook it, and then you come home and then they have it all ready for you and your girl. That's how I do it. So, and you only need them for the time in your house, the time they're cooking. See, that's the thing that confuses people about me. It's like we have a staff of a lot of people, but they go home at the end of the day. They don't live with me. So they come here in the morning and they, do this or that, and then they leave. So it's not like they're here for 8 hours a day. I'm like, no. The way I operate is not like the States. It's like people check in and punch in and they're here for 8 hours and all that shit. No, because these people are getting $3 an hour, and they will waste every minute of that hour that they're not being productive. So I say, I'll tell you what. I'll pay you 3 times the minimum wage for 1 hour of hard work. The rest of the day, take the rest of the day off. I don't give a fuck. So I'm going to give you 3 times the hourly wage, but you only got to work 1 hour. This motherfucker's going to be on point all the time. See what I'm saying? Sometimes they got to work 2 whopping hours. But this gives all firefighters an opportunity to go and work at different stations, to work their side hustle, their business. I teach guys to set up shop around Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Christmas, 4th of July if you're in the States, and sell seasonal bullshit that you can get for cheap, if not on credit, or for not for free. Christmas trees are a perfect example. We have 55 hectares, and there's Christmas trees on it. And I never thought, oh, you know what would be a good business? Hey, why don't we go and make Christmas trees? So since I already have the Christmas trees that are fucking huge now, why don't we just set up, a little farm? We'll rope it off because it's obviously a big farm. Nobody comes out here anyway. And we'll just set up for Christmas time. But instead of us doing the sales of the Christmas trees, we'll tell all the neighbors to work for us. We'll split it 50-50. Look, all the trees are $10. You keep 5, I keep 5. Sound good? Great. There's 100 trees. I'm expecting this much money at the end of the day. So you understand that you're still paying them triple the salary to do the same work they would have done in an 8-hour day, but you're only doing it in 1 or 2 tops. I mean, no one's going to stand out there in the sun and sell Christmas trees, all day for the month of November all the way up to Christmas. No, sir. We'll do 1 week prior to Christmas, like last minute Christmas trees, 10 days out. We go hard, we go fast, we advertise like crazy. We give bonuses out to people who sell more than 5 Christmas trees a day. And so it's really motivational. And so at the end of the day, it's like you have all these other streams of income so that you can operate outside the country. Now, I did the right thing. I paid off my child support by doing these same techniques because I was not going to fucking be poor. I ate ramen noodles for those 2 years, but I still was able to go to the gym. I still worked out. I still ran around on chicks and banged everything that moved. So I was not having a hard time during this assault on child support. Now, after it was all said and done, I had to tell my ex to go and cancel the child support. But she didn't. She had me pay for another additional 7 months illegally. And so all that said and done, I paid off my child support. I was able to leave the country. I was able to renew my passport because I was military all my whole life. So when my passport expired, it's like, shit, I got to renew this. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to go anywhere. When I were to renew it, I owed child support. It said, if you owe $1,500 or more or $2,500 or more, you can't renew your passport. But if you already have your passport and it has more than 6 months on it, you can go and you can go somewhere. You're not going to get thrown to the ground at the fucking airport, you fucking deadbeat. You better pay your child support, fucking bastard. It doesn't work that way. If you have a warrant for something, they might have cameras that are looking for federal people. But if you have some bullshit warrant like a DUI or, you bounce a check like I did, then they're not going to be fucking shotgun SWAT team waiting as you get off the plane, going back to the States to handle your business. It didn't like that at all. No one cares. So here's what some guys have done, and I've learned the hard way because I didn't know any better, because I didn't take cruises because I like going in, drinking, and cutting up. No, I went on cruises because it's cheaper than rent. Because you could go for an entire month to Mexico on a closed loop tour, and you'll fly. Go from Fort Lauderdale to, I believe, the Dominican Republic first, then to the U.S. Virgin Islands. Then that goes to, I want to say Panama, but it's a weird zigzag pattern that basically takes you to every country along the way, all the way down through Central America. My boys went on a closed loop all the way to Argentina, on a closed loop, and came all the way back up and jumped out in Colombia. So, there was no problem for them. They weren't getting visas for all these other countries. They just closed loop. You have a closed loop, you do not need a visa. Now let's say that the cruise you're going on is open loop. Okay, an open loop cruise does not allow you, a non-passport holder, to go on a open loop. What is an open loop? It's when you go from here to, let's say Fort Lauderdale, Mexico. All right, and then it goes to Trinidad, and then it stops over in wherever, somewhere else. That's not closed loop. It's when it loops back around and comes back to Fort Lauderdale, that is a closed loop. So open loop, closed loop. Open loop, you need a passport. Closed loop, you don't need a passport. All you need is a driver's license. You can go to any of these countries as long as that cruise ship, and this means that some of you guys who are really hell-bent on getting out of here legally, but you got some things you haven't figured out yet, here's what I would probably do. I would do a world tour on a cruise ship. But on that world tour, I would apply for a job on said cruise ship. So you would be working on the cruise ship while simultaneously taking your days off at the ports all the way around the world. Now, I did mention the Black Diamond. It is one of the most exclusive, probably it is, in my opinion, the best in the world. I don't know what it's like for the last 10 years, but I'm going to tell you something. The Black Diamond cruises are the best cruises that are top fucking notch. Okay? The people who work there don't even speak like servants. They don't say and They sound like CIA agents. They are so sharp when they talk. And I'm like, where do you guys come from? Well, I studied in Cuba. I'm originally from Madrid. I'm like, wow, that's fucking awesome. And I come here and there's like a plan. It's like it's a very nice cruise. It's very expensive. So anyway, the guy went to work for the cruise ship. Been there for like 15 years now. So he's the one that put me on game for you guys. They said because now the cruise ship, it's $2,500 a month. Some of you guys are paying that in rent, and that doesn't include utilities. It doesn't include food. So it's like a whole month, but you're paying $2,500 to go stay on a cruise ship that gives you all the food you can fucking handle, transport. You could stop in all these different countries and get off the boat and go buy stupid tourist shit and do whatever you want for 8 hours and then come back to the cruise ship and then go to the next port. As long as you're not late. Nobody cares. Because they will leave you. Oh yeah, they will leave your ass. And you're not getting people are so entitled, they're like airport being late to... No, they will be gone. And I don't, there's no rules, there's no like fines, there's no like, oh, this asshole broke the law. None of that is important. They don't even know that you're a closed looper. So even if you did get left behind in, let's say, Puerto Vallarta or something like that, or maybe even Nicaragua, hell, you got left in Nicaragua, no passport. What would happen to you is, especially if you were like in somewhere like Bluefields, Managua, San Juan del Sur, what would happen is these light-skinned black girls from Nicaragua that live in those parts of the country would kidnap you and make them your husband. Because they love you so much. When they see you, they're like... They have to cover their mouth because they giggle so fucking much. Black guys, white guys, Spanish guys, don't matter. The women of Nicaragua are so sweet, and they speak English, and they're light-skinned. They have these big, gigantic, like, baby doll eyes. First girl that worked for me, she was from Nicaragua. She was from Bluefields. She had, like, snuffleupagus eyes. You guys remember snuffleupagus, right? She had big snuffleupagus eyes. And they were real eyelashes, too. And those were back in the days when they would use, like, the mascara, and they would paint like their eyelashes, and they would be like this gooey black shit on the end of their... So Nicaragua would be a good stop if you were going somewhere. I'm telling you guys, if Nicaragua wasn't a socialist country, I'd be there tomorrow. And I thought about it, but I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not going to do anything that doesn't have something that is operated in that country, that's going to operate by itself, that's going to support me, all my classes, all my teachers, all my stuff. Something that's going to support everybody. Now, I know it sounds kind of socialist considering I'm not a socialist, and yet I'm a family guy. Okay? And so when I was alienated from my son, and I was obviously separated from my daughter because of conflict with her mom, so there was a lot to be upset about. And all I just wanted to do is get out. This had nothing to do with money, but it did have everything to do with money because the courts control money. Make money off of us. And I figured out how. They make really like they take our money in the first of the month. That money is processed. It's every single thing that goes into the court system is invested into the stock market, so you know. And a lot of times judges' pensions and things like that are funded from the child support revenues that they make investing our money into these investment schemes. And so they skim the interest paid off of money that we paid into and deposit to. And it happens every single weekend, every single part of the world that this happens to. And that's how I found out, if you were a forensic auditor, you could figure out who all the bad people were in 30 seconds just by looking at frequency of deposits and blah, 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 and then the amount of the deposits and so on. A complete breach of your Fourth Amendment rights, and I don't think that's right at all. But aside from that, just imagine you can go to Alaska. But in order to get to Alaska, you got to pop on into, let's say, Chile. And while you're in Chile, you got a 4-hour, port call. So 4 hours, you got to be back to the port. In any country, anywhere in the world, as long as that loop is closed, you don't need a passport. And no one can give you any shit about it either because it's illegal. They can't even ask you questions. Did you know that? They can't ask you questions and you don't have to answer them. And you don't have to answer them to anybody. There's a lot of laws that, I'm not allowed to ask somebody if they, had the whatever vaccine. It's against the law. It's against the HIPAA laws. So no one actually can ask you to provide proof that you got whatever vaccine because it's against the HIPAA laws, and that is international, baby. But especially in the States. There's so many rules in the States, it's insane. I saw this shit coming from the 90s. So where else would you want to go? You want to go to the Bahamas? You could do that. Jamaica, you could do that. I would go to Trinidad. Trinidad would be an ideal place. Curacao would be a great place because it's right there north of Venezuela. It's right there by Margarita Island. And you could go on a John boat from Curacao to San Margarita Island if you really, really wanted to. Go get your plastic surgery done. Then go back to Campo Alegre in Curacao. Campo Alegre, by the way, guys, is the largest whore house in Curacao. It's famous for all of its Venezuelan girls. So in case you did not know about Curacao, it's a Dutch colony, I think. Once belonged to Venezuela. And it is Dutch speaking and Spanish speaking and English speaking, obviously. Not a very big place. You could probably bicycle around the whole island if you wanted to. So that's a good option too. You could go as far as the Mariana Islands, go all the way to Guam in a closed loop legally. So if you wanted to know, closed loop, good. Open loop, guys like me, guys with money, guys with passports, guys with status, guys with their shit together, guys with a good looking woman, homeowners, business owners that only hang out with other business owners because all we do is talk about generating money, generating products. I always talk about inventions. That's my thing. Because you think about it, I know there's a lot of veterans out there that are kind of sick of being stuck where they are. And I always tell people, find a veterans village. But that's the problem is they don't advertise. It's like I could have a veterans village right fucking here and have like 7 rows, streets of nothing but veterans. You know what I mean? Have like a small military unit. But it'll be kind of fun. One of these days we'll all figure it out. And for now, I want you guys to know that there's a lot to learn from other countries. I suggest that you get your passport so you're not stuck. Any event you want to get out of there in a quick, fast hurry. You'll always have someone to go if you got someone in Mexico. It's not a long flight. But other than that, guys, I think that it's important that you guys use and express your feelings and of freedom. But remember, there is a Pledge of Allegiance. And that is what we should stand by, is our Pledge of Allegiance to the Constitution of the United States that gave us the freedoms to go and come whenever we want. But someone else does not want us to have those freedoms. And that is why I'm telling you that you should get your passport. If you cannot get your passport, take a loop cruise and go check out other countries. So while you're paying off your child support like I was, you can still visit these countries and meet people and network and, learn a lot of good lessons. I think it's pretty helpful. Plus, it will season you and make you a very relaxed person. You'll no longer look to money and possessions as anything that's important anymore. That's why I like looking at, when I see all this gold, I look at it now and I'm thinking to myself, it's like, you can't build anything with gold. It's so soft, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you could sell it, but then it's like, what are you going to do with the money? You can make a lot of money selling gold. I would just give the fucking shit away. Like, literally, $4,500 for that block of gold, that little bitty fucking thing of gold like this. So I take the 4,500, that's 90 grand in Mexican pesos. That's 9 uniforms for these kids, because that's how much those uniforms cost. They're 10,000 pesos a piece. So not cheap. I would probably use the change left over to buy maybe some helmets or something like that, but probably not fire helmets, because those are $1,200 each. Yeah, and each kid needs one. So, well, let's go find out if there's any fuckery going on outside, because it was some earlier, and I'll put my foot in someone's ass. Because, well, no, not much of anything going on out here, except the neighbors stunting and everything. So, hola them. The kids are always good, so it's not, there's only been adults that have been bad here. There's only been a handful of people that have made it clear that they don't like us here. So, well, that's okay, because my time's up here anyway, because I got, this assignment is actually three years long, and because of coronavirus, it was pushed back, and because that one Venezuelan guy, he stole all of our parts, and he stole a bunch of our materials and our tools. It delayed our project for another 2 years. So here we are sitting at the 5-year mark, and the coronavirus came and went, and then we had this person that was in charge of the tools decide that he needed the money and the tools more than he was interested in the mission that we had here. So, and that's why we've had so many things happen, is just that we've literally have such a good thing happening that the devil would do anything to wreck it, because he only is here to kill, steal, and destroy. So, I mean, he's got his hands full, and you know what? You don't need to deal with that shit either. All right, so I'm pleading with you guys. If you can get out of the country and you can somehow find some form of income, some way of taking care of yourself while you're overseas, that's the best thing that you can do. Because if you have nothing to go back to in the States, nobody to go back home to, you're not a child anymore. So it's not like you need your parents, unless you're really, really that connected to them. Most of people my age have kids that are grown, so it's not like we're waiting for them to get out of high school yet. But it is a true possibility. What's next? No, I haven't been to the Philippines, but I have friends in the Philippines right now. MYK Philippine Adventures is a friend, and he is a wealth of information about the Philippines. Now, the reason why I didn't go to the Philippines is because I was Air Force after the Clark Air Force Base disaster, when they had a Mount Pinatubo or whatever blew up, and the whole Air Force Base was destroyed. So I had planned on going to the Philippines as a slick sleeve, voluntarily, almost with a guaranteed position working for the commander right out of the box. So when that was taken away, I was just like, fuck it. I ended up going to the Air Force Special Operations Command at Hurlburt Field. I worked for General Pfister there. Ended up going to Saudi Arabia during the first part of the Gulf War. Right after that, though, I ended up going to Kuwait. And this is like when Yemen was having like a civil war or some shit. So, no, that's not true. I was in Saudi when Yemen was having a pissing contest over there where they have fucking Scud missiles. Believe that shit? These fucking ding-dongs would basically, it's like fire it out of the trunk of your car, you know what I mean? And go turn on CNN, see where it landed. Type of navigation systems. So we were all just like sitting ducks. So if they fire these fucking things off, there's no guidance. There's no guidance system. It's like shooting bottle rockets off of the fucking Air Force base. And that is where we left off. Yeah. Okay. Guys, Managua is the capital city of Nicaragua. Everybody goes to Managua first. All right? Where do you go after you go to Managua? Is you go to San Juan del Sur. It's a beach town. Okay, San Juan del Sur is, you want to follow the pretty people. You want to meet other tourists while you're there. And if it's just a bunch of dudes, you ask them where, and they'll tell you because they're usually pretty cool about that. That's what I like about. I was in Panama with Terry Andrews. He was having a great time. We played blackjack. I did tournaments. He was not there with handlers. He was not there with security. He was staying in the same hotel. Different world from, U2. All right. So you guys know. I'm going to say right around 2005, 2006, I was with U2 in the Shore Club Hotel in Miami Beach. And Bono is a cool dude. Bono is the singer from U2. If you guys didn't know that. People like to say bad shit about celebrities and whatever. But when I met him, he wasn't in costume. He's really short. He was like this tall on me. And his hair, he was wearing like an old army hat. And he has a lot of gray hair. It was like sticking out of the fucking thing. Later on that day, they were on the roof. And they played a couple songs pretending to be a band, pretending to be them. So they were U2 pretending to be a band, pretending to be U2, but they really were U2. And that is when I learned about people. Because I'm at the Shore Club, the Victoria's Secret is there. They have all their fucking wine, their models and shit. So you guys know, I used to be with the nanny from the U.S. soccer team, the U.S. women's soccer team. I was married to the nanny of the owner. So I had the high society living for a while, me and my drizzle fucking ass. Indirectly, so you know, because I was simping, but she made more money than me, and her boss hated my guts. which, by the way, he passed away. He made $600 million off of the Magic Jack. That device I recommended to you guys earlier. Yeah, he's the one that invented it. He was not a nice guy. He wasn't a nice guy to me at all. His wife hated my guts too because I was banging the nanny. The Magic Jack nanny. And here's the best part. He wasn't a big fan of Trump, but he built his house on the beach in front of Mar-a-Lago almost to spite Trump because they had like this lawsuit going on for like 7 years. I used to live on the west side, right on Flagler, and Trump, if you were to take Southern Boulevard Bridge, you went directly up. Mar-a-Lago's right there on the left side. If you were to go right, you would go past the Kennedy. You would go past Eric Clapton. No, Eric's. That wasn't Eric's house. That's Rod Stewart's house. Okay. And, of course, Thursdays, we had pancakes with Venus and Serena Williams and her dad. And we had hamburgers and waffles with... Who the fuck was that guy? Super famous Rod Stewart. If you want my body and you think I'm sexy. Yeah, he lived up the street too. He had a yellow mansion. Now you guys think I'm fucking losing my mind. No, these are actually people. They're just regular people. I mean, yeah, it's impressive, but the good part is that a lot of these people ended up getting sober. The bad part is that in the environment in which I met these people was Alcoholics Anonymous. So if they were at AA and they were a superstar, they were a fucking piece of shit superstar at the time. And the exceptions were Ozzy Osbourne and Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton was always cool. Eric Clapton's been sober for 30-something years, so, you know, there's no mystery to his sobriety. This motherfucker didn't even walk. If you ever had a chance to meet Eric Clapton, I'm a fan of Eric Clapton. I've been a fan of Eric Clapton since I was a little boy, and he's part of the reason why I started to learn blues guitar. Eric Clapton walked in with one of his people, and he didn't walk in, dudes. He fucking levitated. Like, he didn't walk. He literally was like Fred Astaire doing the moonwalk or some shit. And the dude that he was with, their clothes were so white and so clean and so perfect. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, this is, by the way, when I met with the Budweiser people, is that I just saw them and I was like, God, man, it's so weird because it's like, I'm such a big fan and I don't want to like freak out and nothing. I know this is AA and we're supposed to be all anonymous and everything, but I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, this dude's like my hero, like inspired me, but I had no idea that he had been sober for all these years. I had no idea. The same thing happened to him. I believe the same thing happened to Billy. And if you guys don't know what happened to Billy, he was a crackhead. And him and his girlfriend had been ripping and running for like an entire week. And during that time, Billy's daughter fell in the fucking pool and drowned while he was high. And he knocked out. He was passed out on the couch. He had 2 daughters, or 3 daughters at the time. And one of them came up crying, screaming, yelling that her sister fell in the pool. And so when he went out there, it was already like fucking minutes and might as well been forever. How long would she fall in the pool and drown while he was high? So I take this stuff seriously. You know, I can't imagine losing a child. It's hard enough to get him alienated from you. Imagine one dying. Or worse, imagine being in such a mess that your own kids get taken away. You know? And you know what? A lot of reason why Passport Bros are successful is because some of us have fucked our lives up bad. And it's just the only way to reset, because sometimes that fucked up life that we've been handed, we don't utilize it the right way. We become the perpetual victim. Blame other people for our dumbass mistakes. Because yeah, it's environmental, but it's also our decision to continue the fucking bullshit. Because I said, someone told me that our family had a curse. And I come to find out later, it's just that same old generational curse that everybody blames it on. And the only cure to a generational curse is removing yourself from the family to which the curse has been placed, and give yourself distance and time and do not engage. And that is how you break all curses. And another thing too is that you align yourself with the values of other people that hold value, like actually have values in life, and you'll see how quickly bad people fall away, new people will come on. So, and I just tell any of you guys that are trying to get your life together, I'll give you all the tips you want. Do me a favor and just subscribe, hit that bell so I can notify you. And I'm going to go through my whole list of knowledge that's being handed to me and the stuff that I know already. So if you like this, do me a favor, hit that like button, and do me a favor and subscribe and share this, because it will be very helpful. I appreciate you all tuning in, man. I'll see you in Nicaragua. I'm the professor. Yo, I'm out.